who should cook the soup? It sounds like one of those parables. You know, those business books that are like, like who moved my cheese and the 1 minute manager, they're always told in parable form. Who should cook the soup sounds like sounds like one of those. So got a situation where a couple of staff are like, they're playing out some kid stuff. So number one is to deploy calm dad energy, which you've already done. That's great. And my mind goes to establish first, is this a repeated pattern for the person or people involved? Or is it maybe just a one-off? People aren't getting along with each other. If it is indeed a repeated pattern, then you've got to work out what is the underlying behavior or pattern that someone has that you want to change, and then find a way to candidly deliver that feedback to them and give them an opportunity to work on that. And that might be one person thinks they're the boss, so they're defensive and they react by ordering other people around with petty demands. Or it might be the staff they're disrupted and maybe a bit fearful of change that's happening. And so they are trying to find their place on the grid. Like they're pushing the boundaries and poking each other's sore spots to kind of see what's going on. Where I've had a situation where two people have a biff or, a blow up with each other, I've actually done like the dad thing and said to them, okay, I want you two to have a conversation with each other and make up. And I say to both of them, you're both adults. I want you to get on a call. I'd like you to have a candid adult conversation with each other and express your concerns, see if you can come to a resolution together. I don't want to baby you through this. You're both adults. This is a workplace, but I want you guys to have the conversation. Because if you don't have the conversation, this is going to keep playing out in subconscious ways. And in the, 4 or 5 times I've had to ask people to do that, it's not been many. They've had the conversation and they've gone and done it. They've cleaned up things themselves. So that method may or may not work in this situation. I don't know. But I've certainly found sometimes there's been ongoing issues like this. It was usually around one particular toxic person. And that one person, and it was always everybody else's fault, right? They always looked good in all the situations, but they were the common denominator in all the situations. They were the common data in all the drama situations. And sometimes that person just needs to go, or things will keep happening. It's not really like you sit them down and you fire them and then it's, oh yeah, problem solved. Everyone goes back to work and it's all good. It's usually, eventually they go for whatever reason. And then 6 months later, you're like, God, I'm glad that person's gone. Remember when all that, remember when that energy was around? So that's been my experience. I just thought I'd share my experience of these kind of situations. So I call them both individually and I say, hey, I want you to have a conversation with this other person, set a time. I mean, if they're working in an office together, maybe they go for a coffee, maybe they book a meeting room, or out of the office probably better. Maybe even you say, hey, I'll buy you two lunch, but I want you two to go to lunch and I want you to sit down human to human with each other and sort it out. Yeah, I don't sit there. I ask them to go and do it, or a phone call or whatever it needs to be. I mean, you kind of do have to play psychologist a bit and, just let each person get it out. It sounds like it's not fully resolved. So this is the grown-up version of putting two kids in the corner and saying, right, you're not coming out of the corner until you sort it out and shake hands and make friends. Force them to sit across from each other and see each other as human, because that will hopefully have them drop their egos, see each other as human, and then not be dickheads to each other.